Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Vojta Ripa, and I have made a Sudoku Solver program here for you that I'm going to demonstrate it and show you how it works. And then I might talk a little bit about how I went about making it and how it works. So I have used the Dev C++ program to make my project, and those of you who have coded before are probably familiar with using it. Those that haven't, it is a great environment that I recommend using if I was first to start coding. Um, so yeah, let's get right into it. So this is how you run and compile this program. So let's compile it. So let's see. Here's the basic overview that I've put in here. So it says, please follow the directions as instructed. So first, the program will ask you to input your original Sudoku or use an existing one. Second, if you choose to use an existing one, Sudoku will be displayed and solved. Third, if you choose to input an original Sudoku, please input all the values starting at 00, 0 all the way up to 88, going along rows and columns. That might be confusing, so here is 00, 0, and here is 8, 8. So you will be inputting values going this way along the rows, down all the way up to 88, where the Sudoku will be filled up. The program will ask you if you want to change any values before solving the Sudoku. If you choose to replace, you will be asked to insert values in the specific index, and then the program will show you the changes you made and solve the Sudoku in one step. If you choose not to replace any values, then the Sudoku will be solved automatically. Alright, so those are the instructions and the overview of how it works. So let's see what happens here. First, I displayed just the original Sudoku here, and as you can see, everything is zeros, so there's nothing to be solved, no Sudoku here. So it says please put in 100 if you want the Sudoku to be pre-populated for you, or put in any other number to populate it yourself. So for simplicity, let's just put in 100 and use an existing Sudoku that I have actually put in here. So and this is what happens. So it looks like it replaced a few of these zeros with some numbers in here. So now it kind of looks like a valid Sudoku that you could solve. So now it asks if you want to replace any values. Press Y if yes, and N if no. Well, looks like it's a valid Sudoku, so I won't replace any values. So I'll press N, but before I press enter, I'm going to say that the Sudoku will be solved automatically, so be ready for that. So looks like it did a whole bunch of stuff here, so let's go back. Let's see what happened. So this whole column just displays the values that I have put in up here, so you don't have to pay attention to that. And it's lists that I have made 29 changes. But this is how the program actually worked out all the values in the indexes. So it looks like at 00, 0, it first found that it's 5. So let's go to 0, 0. This value will now be 5. At 1, 1, the value will be 4. At 1, 1, the value will be 4. So this one will be 4, and so on. So after each break, it has to go through another loop, and that's why these are all in different sections. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but this is basically what each index is and the order it's been found in. So at the end it says number changes 0 and there are no differences. So that's when the program will stop solving the Sudoku, because it knows it's all solved and the result is displayed. So this is what the Sudoku looks like now. It replaced all the zeros with actual values, and it also totaled up the cycles it has made, and that's the program right there. Now we could also run it again and input our own values if you want me to try and do that. But I don't think I'll do that in this demonstration. So now let's look a little bit at the code that I have wrote in here. So these are all the functions that I have defined to solve the Sudoku. So first, here's the start of my code. I've just declared a few things here. To do this, I've actually used a 3-dimensional array of rows, columns, and depth. So you could think of a Sudoku as a 3-dimensional cube, I guess you could say. And on the surface, you would actually have the Sudoku, and the depth would actually be all the possible values that each of those indexes could have. I don't know if that made any sense right now, but that's basically how I made it to work. So here are all the functions. As you could see, delete index, boolean correct, check, all that. So they're all listed right here. I have the check function, correct function, difference function. The difference function actually finds the difference between two Sudokus. So as you saw in the results, it says difference at blah 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 index is blah blah blah. So I've actually used that function to compute the difference between the original matrix or array and the one that I have used to solve the array. I'm not sure if that made any sense either, but you guys can tell me in the feedback. So let's actually go to the main. This is where it all starts. Main is where the program first goes to actually start the program. This is where everything happens. So don't pay any attention to the blue stuff. That's just comments. But the stuff in black is actually functions that execute by the computer. So it looks like first it prints out the directions. So that's easy. Let's go to my directions. These are all the directions. So this is what's printed out at first. Then it will go to the start function. So let's go to the start function, which is actually right here. The start function, it starts user input and depends on what the user types in is what it will do. Well, kind of vague, but that's okay. Well, first it will print out the Sudoku. So it'll print out the blank Sudoku, and then while the user inputs values, keeps inputting values, it'll keep doing the same thing. It'll keep wanting to insert more. After insert is false, meaning there's no more values to put in, then it'll go to the mess up function, in where the message will pop up with telling the user if they messed up any values, if they want to change them, basically. And then it'll copy the whole array that the user has put in into an array called original array and execute, which in other words is solving the Sudoku. So that's the steps my program takes. Let's look more into how the insert function works. This is how the mess up function works. We'll just keep repeating what index and where the user wants to replace any values. But here's my insert function. So I've declared some values up here. Basically it wants the user to put in some values right here. well, first, if it's 100, then it'll actually solve my Sudoku that I've actually put in here. But if not, then so if it's 100, it'll do my thing. If not, then it'll actually put in all the values the user has put in. So this first for loop, it goes through all the columns. Oh, this first for loop, sorry. The second for loop, it goes through all the rows. I think I've switched this maybe, but I'm not sure. Switch the labeling over here. Okay, so that's how the user inputs values. Let's see if the input is 0, or if the input's 1, or if the input's 2, blah blah blah. Then you have to do this. Else, you know, it won't let you input, I don't think. So it basically checks if the user put in actual valid numbers that actually work. Count plus plus just keeps track of the counts or the numbers that of the inputs the user puts in, and then it puts it into the array or the matrix right here. So that's basically how that works. I hope that's clear. Here's the execute function of how the actual matrix or the Sudoku is solved. It counts the number of steps, as you saw at the end. The number of steps was 13. First, it populates the depth. As I said, the depth is all the possible values, basically, that each index can have. So it populates it with 0 to 9. Then while difference is true, basically meaning make sure there is still zeros be replaced with. Yeah, didn't really explain that very well, but that's okay. Copying the difference. It first copies the difference, then counts the number of steps. It uses the eliminate function, which basically eliminates all the possible values. So let's look at the eliminate function here. Eliminate, eliminate. Well, it first goes through all the rows and eliminates whatever number. If there's any existing numbers, then it actually takes it out of all the possible values in that row. Then it goes through all the columns and replaces all the columns with, or basically gets rid of all the possibilities that column can have, and same with the box. Yeah. Let's go back to my execute function. Execute. Where is it? I keep missing it. So basically, it eliminates all the numbers, eliminates all the duplicates of rows, columns, and boxes in the depth. So now we can see if there are some unique numbers that only one index can have, because it's neighbors in the row or column and the box that equal that number. So this is a little confusing, but basically, yeah, I'm not really sure how to explain this any simpler than actually what I wrote down here. Basically eliminates if the neighbors I think I'll try and attempt to explain this a little bit later. But this basically eliminates more numbers that index can't be. And then it places or place is a function where if that specific index can only be one number, then it will actually replace that number, and it will put it in the Sudoku itself. So if you know it, there's only one possible number that that index can be, then it is that number, basically. So it keeps doing this process until all the numbers are found and the Sudoku is solved. I know the description wasn't so great, but I'll try and work on that. But I hope that at least going through some of this code has helped you understand how I made the Sudoku solver. And yeah, please comment and let me know what you like about the program or the video. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.